Welcome back. After more than 40 years, Hong Kong's trams have been given a facelift. It's all part of a grand plan by Hong Kong Tramways to attract more passengers. Over the next couple of weeks, Hong Kong's iconic trams will be sporting a rather different look. The tram operator has decided that after 43 years, it's time for a change.
We wanted to develop an identity that is closer to the values of Hong Kong and that reflect the iconic value of the tram. We think our former logo was not fully reflecting that, and so we worked with our teams to develop an image that was closer to what we wanted to convey. Iconic, convenient, caring and clever.
This brighter image with the tagline, "Catch a ride, catch a smile," is aimed at being more recognisable for locals and tourists alike. The trams themselves will actually have smiles painted on their bumpers. For many, the attraction of taking a tram is that it only costs $2.30 to get around town. But does the facelift come at a cost to passengers?
The last time we increased our fares was 6 years ago. In the meantime, most transport operators have increased their fares several times. Some have increased their fares every year. At some point, our fare needs to catch up with the increase in cost. We also need to be able to finance the investment needed to maintain, renew and upgrade the tram. However, at this stage, we have not made any decision for a fare increase.
The revamp couldn't have come at a better time. Last month, 14 people were hurt when a tram toppled over in Central. The driver is thought to have lost control of the tram, which fell on its side just near the HSBC headquarters.
We have already introduced some new measures to control the speed of the trams. Now we have intensified the quantity of the control, and we have also reviewed our training, reviewed our monitoring to make sure that we are accompanying our motormen, making sure that they have the right set of skills and they are aware of their responsibility when they are driving passengers.
Hong Kong Tramways runs 164 tramcars that carry some 200,000 passengers a day.
Well, authorities are hoping a new chief superintendent can be picked soon to lead the city's cybersecurity unit. But lawmakers want to be sure that whoever fills the new post will not hinder internet freedom in the city. Winnie Wong tells us what's been discussed today.
A newly added post within the police force to lead Hong Kong's cybercrime fighting officers. This is what the government is hoping to do if it gets the nod from members of the Legislative Council. But it's not without its controversies. Many pan-Democrats want authorities to clarify what the scope of work will be for the proposed chief superintendent.
I don't think there is no relationship between this CSVP post and suppression of freedom of speech on the internet. I think it has to do with the question of trust. I have said here many times the police don't have any political mission at all. And what we look at is entirely whether certain acts are breaching the laws in Hong Kong. Now, say if the mainland investigation authorities, in the name of, say, cracking down on acts which will undermine territorial sovereignty and so on, and if they ask for cooperation from the Hong Kong police, will the police accede to their request? Deciding on whether we should cooperate with overseas counterparts, the first thing to consider is whether this activity is illegal. Telephone deception is one area which we should work together, and also cracking down on drugs trafficking is another area.
According to current papers, whoever is hired will get a salary of about $150,000 per month. In January 2015, the Police Force's Technology Crime Division was upgraded to become the Cybersecurity and Technology Crime Bureau. The government says it needs dedicated staffing at the directorate level to lead the bureau. Winnie Wong, TVB News.
A pro-democracy group has announced activities to commemorate the Tiananmen Square crackdown 28 years ago. The Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic democratic movements of China has planned a protest this Sunday. They'll march from Wan Chai to the central government's liaison office in Weston to demand the release of dissidents and build a democratic China. The annual candlelight vigil will again be held at Victoria Park on June the 4th. Organisers would not estimate attendance numbers, but called on locals to value this opportunity, given Beijing's interference in local affairs. Hong Kong is seen as the only Chinese city where such commemorations can take place openly.
A judge has established a prima facie case against 5 men charged with rioting. That means they can have a case to answer for over their alleged involvement in the Mong Kok unrest of February 2016. The 5 men, ages ranging from 18 to 47, arrived at the district court for their hearing this morning. Earlier, they had all declared themselves not guilty. The case has now been adjourned to Monday. In February last year, the 5 allegedly held glass bottles and threw bricks at police officers in Mong Kok. The hearing is expected to last 15 days.
Turning overseas again, former Greek Prime Minister Lucas Papademos is in stable condition after being wounded by an envelope blast in his car in central Athens. Papademos, who also is a former senior official at the European Central Bank, was inside his car when a device detonated. The 69-year-old sustained superficial wounds to his chest, abdomen, hands and legs. His driver and bodyguard were also admitted to hospital with minor wounds. Brazil's president has cancelled an order to deploy troops to the streets of the capital. This comes after critics slammed the move as excessive and a desperate effort by Michel Temer to hold on to power. Brazil's defence minister announced that Temer cancelled the order for troops in the capital. The troops were deployed late Wednesday after a day of clashes between police and protesters, demanding Temer's ouster amid allegations of corruption. All right, James, turning to you for some sport.
Yeah, we have determined the final participants in 2 pro-final competitions. Great. One of those teams is Penguins, not real ones. I'll explain in a minute. The Cavaliers and the Warriors will be meeting for the 3rd straight time in the NBA Finals. Cleveland eliminated Boston in 5 games to earn the right to defend the title. Here's Jamison Wong.
The Cavaliers took the suspense out of this one early.